Hi guys, this is the Saudi Football Fanatics channel. We are back as the league is about to be back too, and we have some great news for you. And we would like to invite you to a new contest. But first, let me greet my colleagues. Hi guys.
Hello,
Hello.
Are you excited? Are you excited, guys?
Oh yes, I'm now very excited.
I'm much more excited than than I was for the Saudi Super Cup.
Oh, then it has to be great excitement because that was something to be excited about. Wow,
Yes.
this is going to be an epic game, I think. ROSHN!
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 ROSHN! ROSHN! Saudi League.
Well, silence seems to be confirmation. So
We are still stunned.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the news is we are going to start the Russian Saudi League Fantasy, which is a fantasy football game very similar to Fantasy Premier League, which a lot of you may know, but it's much better simply because the player base is much better. That's one reason. And slightly different rules, but the game and the concept is basically the same. So we will start this RSL Fantasy, and we already have several of our listeners and followers in a league, and we are still collecting players into the league before the start of the season. So we would like everyone to join and have some fun with us in an AFSAM league, which is shared by multiple nations. Anything you want to add, guys, before I start with the rules?
Yes. No. Yes, so you basically summarize well. So this game is based on the same concept as Fantasy Premier League, and we decided, you can reach it via official website of the Fantasy RSL site. So even if you type it into Google, that Fantasy RSL, it will be the first finding, or it has an official, the RSL, the Saudi Pro League has an official application that you can download to your mobile, and via this application or via a website, you can register yourself to this fantasy game. You can create your own team. You would be the manager. You would create your own team, and you can join our Saudi Football Fanatics private league, which is already populated with players from different countries. It's totally free for everyone, and everyone is invited from our listeners around the world to join our league.
Yeah, and maybe sorry.
No.
Then one more point that we just what Andris mentioned, we already posted the details, the code to join our league and so on our Facebook page and also our Instagram. And after this recording, we will also share it again, so it will be easier for each listeners to join our league.
Yeah, and if you want to win some Saudi Football Fanatics merchandise, then you should absolutely join. Every detail, as Mark mentioned, is available in our Facebook and Instagram channel, and the link to the league will be shared below this podcast. But let's talk a little bit about the rules and then some concepts. So the game itself is based on the league, the Russian Saudi League. You are building a team from virtual currency. You have 100 units. Every player has a preset price, and you have to select 15 players, and the players will collect points in each round. Points will be determined by several factors: whether the player plays during the round, whether he scores or not, whether if it's a defender or a midfielder or a goalkeeper has a clean sheet or not. Based on the performance, players will get attacking and defensive bonus points, so it's quite some fun. If you want to put it simple, if the player selected by you plays well, then it will collect points. If it doesn't, then it will not. And obviously, the goal is to collect as many points as possible. There are two things that make it even more interesting. One is the possibility of transfers. during the season. Obviously, injuries are your enemy, and you have to change the team time by time. And you have a free transfer every round. Runs are usually related with the game weeks, so it's nothing really particular. And you have a so-called wild card every now and while to
Sorry,
change.
sorry, Gyula, to interrupt, but before the wild card, I think you may not mention that from one team you only can have 3 players, so you don't have the possibility to, for example, have only Al Hilal players in your team. Yes, that's the first point, and maybe you can play with the prices on that field. And also about the substitutes. So you don't get any points after your substitutes, but it also matters who is your first sub, for example, because if one of your players does not play in your starting team, the first sub will join your starting team, and you will get the points after this substitution, and so on after the second, after the third sub. That's the only addition I just wanted to say about the basics.
And from this comes to my mind that you also can select the captain and the vice captain, and the captain gets double points. So it's always something that spices up the game, that every week you have a player who will collect double points, and if that player doesn't play, then similarly to the substitutions, the vice captain will be the one who gets the double points. So this is very briefly the basis of the game, and the exact rules you can find on the RSL Fantasy website. Not a long read, so I would suggest everyone to read that, even if you are familiar with fantasy football games such as Fantasy Premier League, because there are some differences. If you followed my speech, then you may have realized that I was talking about attacking and defensive bonus points, which is one of the main differences already. And it's well said by Mark that you can only have 3 players from one team, but obviously the pricing of the players prohibits you to have too many star names in the team. So it's always going to be interesting how you deal with your money. And back to the transfers, you will have 2 wild cards during the season when you can freely change your entire team. Otherwise, you only have 1 free transfer, and every consecutive transfers will cost you in-game points, which your players collected. So it's not nice to lose, but obviously you always have to think ahead and use these transfers wisely. And one more thing that will make it interesting is the extra chips you get. Basically, this is another big difference from the Fantasy Premier League, that these chips are different. These are special things. You can have a double captain bonus and a park the bus bonus, which is a defensive boost for all your players. Yeah, this is it, basically.
Yeah, but just don't get loose into the details, the listeners. So you obviously, cannot understand everything from what we have just said. I believe the main message is that it's fairly complicated pointing system, but it's a very, very fun game where you can manage your own team throughout the season, and you can select your own players from the Saudi League based on your own preferences and decisions, and we can compete with each other based on that. So it's very fun. But and as Gyula mentioned, you can find all the details and rules on the website of the Fantasy RSL, and it's really not complicated. It's very clear. You just have to read once. I would say you can get familiar with all the rules in 5 minutes or so. So if you have never played fantasy football, we strongly recommend starting it now with the Saudi League and join our league.
Yeah, obviously. Thank you for this. This is, as I would summarize, it's very easy to start this game, and the rules are not that complicated. But yeah, you need to get used to that. But the starting it is very easy. So what I think we should talk about it is just to make everyone have the feeling that they need to start now is the dilemmas you will face as a manager. So every player has a set price. So obviously, the better the player, the higher the price. And two players stand out in terms of price, were well above the pricing of other players. Can you have some guesses?
I have.
Who could be?
I would say
Maybe
probably
Tose.
one of them is
If it is a Portuguese guy, it has to be Tose.
now he will be in the league. He just joined Riyadh.
Yeah, great to see him back anyway. We predicted that he will not get relegated with Al Hazm. So yeah, he's back to Riyadh, and probably he will have some somewhat higher price than an average midfielder because he's bad. But yes, I was not thinking about him.
But to answer your question, it's obviously Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro and Mitrovic, the two goal-scoring machine who will probably produce the most points during this season as well.
Yeah, and the dilemma is if you want to have both of them in your team, then you will spend more than quarter of your 100 money on these two players. And the big question is, can you just do that or enjoy the wealth of attacking options of the league? Because contrary to the English situation, the big let's say relief of this league is that we have so many attacking options. It's a breath of fresh air.
Just to give you a numerical example, you have to choose 15 players to your team, right? 11 players to your starting squad and 4 to your substitutions. You have 100 units to buy. And that means that if you divide 100 by 15, you will get 6.7. That means that in an average, you will spend 6.7 units on one player. Cristiano Ronaldo is currently costs 14.5 units, while Mitrovic is 12 or 12.5, somewhere around that.
12.5, so, I think.
12.5, yeah.
So if you buy both of them, then you will already spend 27 units out of your starting budget, and that will leave you with only, as Joel mentioned, around 2/3 of your original budget. So you have to think well whether you want to buy both of them or only one of them. If you buy both of them, then you will get a lot of points from them for sure, but the rest of your squad will be much weaker than for the other players.
Just curious, what was your decision, guys?
I think I will play I will play the risky game, and I didn't buy Cristiano yet. But who knows? I still have 3 days, so.
Yeah, I opted for buying both of them, so we'll see.
Currently in my team, I have also both of them. But nice. I will make some changes in the upcoming days, that's for sure, especially as I'm thinking about placing Tose on my midfield. We will see.
Yeah, interesting decision, a difficult one before the start of the season, especially even if you think about alternative players. You can see that, for example, Talisca or Malcolm are also very expensive. So, very, very, very difficult decisions.
If you, for example, play Talisca instead of Ronaldo, then you will spare a lot of units, right? And Talisca, okay, did not produce that many goals as Ronaldo, but did not play that much as well. So we will see, during the season, most probably you will need to make a lot of changes depending on the form of the players, and that's the fun in the game. You will see.
Yeah, and the fun comes with the changes of prices because based on the manager transfers, the prices of players can increase or decrease. So, yeah, we are really looking forward to it. Big excitement.
Yeah, hope you will join.
We really hope you join. We must say that it's safe to say that we are amateurs in this league too. So don't.
Yeah, and one more thing for our listeners, that we plan to have a separate session for these fantasy league related topics. We are not sure yet whether these will be separate episodes or sections of the given episodes. It depends on our personal life as well, whether we will have the chance to have a separate episode every week. But we are planning this, and we will try to help you all during the whole season in this process as well.
Maybe that won't be really helpful to anyone, but yeah. with our great ideas. Yeah, I think it's enough said. Anything else to add, or I can conclude this episode with an invitation?
You can conclude.
Oh,
A jinx again. We just framed this whole episode.
Yeah, nice confirmation. Thank you, guys. So, dear listeners, please join our leagues. Have some fun with us. It will be very, very, very intensive and fun. It will increase the level of excitement for the league at least to double. So you will see the link in this podcast, but you will see much more detail on our Facebook and Instagram. We would be very happy if you followed and liked our content there. So please do that if you like these episodes, and we will see you soon, hopefully in the Saudi Football Fanatics League 2. See you guys. Cheers.